What language should I learn first? I hear this question from beginners all the time, so let's get it out of the way. If you like programming, stay here. Subscribe to this channel, activate the notification bell and keep on learning. To be honest, the choice of your first programming language is not as important as it may seem. This may sound weird to you, since it is the one tool that you use every day being a programmer, at least until you learn another language. And that's exactly the point. A programming language is a tool, and as soon as you have learned one, you will be better equipped to learn how to work with the next one. Different programming languages aren't as different as you might think. There are groups, so-called paradigms, when it comes to programming languages. But most of the relevant programming languages are object-oriented or procedural languages with or without functional elements. If you don't get any of that, don't worry, it will make sense later. I just want to tell you, relax. As soon as you learn one programming language and gained some experience with it, you will get to know the fundamental principles of computer science, like data structures or algorithms, which you will encounter over and over again from language to language. Those principles don't change. Some may be easier to express in one language than in another, but as soon as a language is a Turing-complete language, you will be able to express all of them. Side note, Turing-complete is a term used in computability theory, the theory of what can or cannot be computed. To decide that, scientists use the Turing machine, which is a theoretical model named after the mathematician Alan Turing. In simple words, a problem is computable if it can be computed using a Turing machine. A Turing-complete language is a language that can describe all algorithms that can run on a Turing machine. Therefore, a Turing-complete language is a language that can describe all problems that are computable. Most modern programming languages are Turing-complete. Languages that are used to describe the content of something, like HTML, are not. That is the reason why HTML and CSS are not considered programming languages, which doesn't mean they are not important. Especially when you're using JavaScript, you most likely won't get away without them. The concept of computability and Turing machines is fascinating. I will link some resources for you to check out in the description below. So, where was I? Please don't stress about the programming language you choose to learn first. You will learn a lot, despite the language you choose. So, after we got this out of the way, let's answer the question we are all here for. What is the best programming language to learn first? At least, what I think it is. Please, take my evaluation with a grain of salt. But do flood the comments with your opinion. This topic is highly subjective, so it is perfect to start a comment war about. The YouTube algorithm and I will thank you a lot. On that note, hit the like button and show this video some love. Talking about subjective. Depending on how you look on this question, you will get a different answer. So here are some ways to explore it further before you choose your first programming language. What do you want to build? A programming language is a tool. Despite the fact that the underlying principles don't change with the programming language you choose, you wouldn't try to drive a nail into the wall with a screwdriver, would you? So depending on which field of software development you want to enter later, the language of choice might be different for you. Another factor to take into account is the demand for a language. If you want to learn programming to eventually make a living of it, learning a language that is high in demand is valuable. There is interestingly a reinforcing relationship between the popularity of a programming language and its demand in the job market. The higher the demand of a programming language in the job market gets, the higher its popularity rises, obviously. But it is true the other way around as well. If the popularity of a programming language rises because of an open source project and programmers use it more, software in companies gets built with this language, which in return increases the demand for programmers using this language in the long run. The third aspect I want to consider is the versatility of a language. If a language is used professionally for different fields of software development, it is more valuable for a beginner to learn, because you can obviously enter different fields of software development with the same language and therefore get more bang for your buck. For me personally, 3 languages stand out from the crowd: Python, JavaScript and C#. All of them in the top 10 of the most popular programming languages according to the TOEIC Index June 2020. Which language would you put in? Let me know in the comments below. Let's go through different fields of programming and see how our opponents are going to cut it. Let's start with Frontend Web Development. First, I will give a point to JavaScript. In conjunction with HTML and CSS, it is the uncontested king of front-end web development. The amount of frameworks and even programming paradigms that were created during the last 10 years because of JavaScript's role in web development is staggering. JavaScript gets a lot of hate for its, let's say, unconventional type system and implementation of object orientation, but the progress a whole part of the industry made because of it is, in my opinion, amazing. But there's also Python. And Python plays a role when it comes to web development. With Django and Flask, we have two high calibers when it comes to web frameworks. And I'm well aware that Python is not pure front-end web development, because the HTML is generated on the server and sent to the client. But cut me some slack, I tried to make it simple here. Now let's step back a little and have a look at the backend. And here again, I'd say that we see a heads-to-heads race between Python and JavaScript. Both of them have an extensive lot of libraries to choose from and can be used for serverless programming with AWS, Lambda and Google Cloud Functions, which is pretty nice. So there are points for both of them. How about mobile app development? Out of these languages, 1 point has to go to JavaScript. With JavaScript you have, for instance, React Native or Ionic, with which you can create cross-platform apps. Another point goes to C#. Xamarin is a proven way to create apps for iOS and Android. Side note, from my experience, a lot of companies want their apps to be written natively for iOS and Android. So if you know that's what you want to do professionally later, good languages to take into consideration are Kotlin and Swift. Swift is the current programming language by Apple, which is used to develop apps for iOS and macOS. And Kotlin is a Java alternative made by JetBrains and is, fun fact, also named after an island. Both are modern programming languages and really fun to work with. Next up, mobile games. In this category the point has to go to C#. With Unity we have a winner with nothing to compare to on Python's or JavaScript's side. The same goes for desktop games as well. Another point for C#. Talking about desktop. In regards to desktop applications, I have to give a point to all of them. C# is extensively used to create applications for Windows, of course. And with Xamarin, it is also possible to create apps for macOS and applications for Linux. BitTorrent, Calibre, and of course Blender are written in Python. And with Electron.js, it is possible to create full-fledged desktop applications using JavaScript, HTML, and CSS like Slack, Discord, Skype, and even Visual Studio Code. I actually didn't know that before I did some research. I'm still flabbergasted. And last but not least, let's talk about AI and machine learning. That one is a clear win for Python. Python is, out of these three languages, the one language that comes with the most libraries and learning resources for machine learning. If you want to go down this path, choose Python. That's it. Let's have a look at the points and the winner. Oh, that seems a little bit constructed. Maybe it was, maybe it was not. It actually doesn't really matter, but it makes my point a little bit more clear. I can't tell you which language is the right one for you, but I hope I gave you some insight on how to make this decision for yourself. But before I go, I want to add one last thought. Please keep in mind that out of these three languages, only C# is a strictly typed language with proper object orientation. Uh-oh, I think this is going to explode in my face. Python and especially JavaScript are a little bit looser when it comes to typing. I actually don't think that it's a bad thing. I do like Python for its flexibility, but for a beginner, a strictly typed, object-oriented language sets up some constraints that may be beneficial for the learning process. Alright, I hope you found some value in this video. If so, please subscribe to this channel, hit the notification bell and give this video some thumbs up for the YouTube algorithm so others can learn as well. I will put some resources down in the description below if you want to start C#, Python or JavaScript right away. Some are free and some are paid courses I highly recommend if you want to get on the fast track. Full disclosure, some of the links in the description below are affiliate links. So if you choose to sign up for one of the paid courses, you end up supporting this channel and my work. Thank you very much. If you're going to start your programming journey soon, good luck. It'll be a lot of fun. And remember, frustration is the emotion of learning. I see you next time.